Hello, my name is Father Jack. I'm the rector of Epiphany Cathedral. Thank you so much for viewing our webpage. In this section of the webpage, I give a short reflection on the previous Sunday's Gospel. The previous Sunday's Gospel was taken from St. Luke, and there were three parables in it. One about the lost sheep, one about a lost coin, and the last one about the prodigal son. And if you read those, you'll see a very real difference between the image of God that Jesus shows us and the image of God that the religious leader of that day presented and their attitude towards others. The scribes and the Pharisees felt that anyone who had fallen short of the religious and moral laws of Judaism were somehow outside the reach of redemption. According to them, such people were only to be pushed aside or ignored. That attitude was not only judgmental, but also was holier than thou. It was as though the scribes and the Pharisees had built a spiritual wall with the so-called holy people safely on the inside and the sinners and losers on the outside of the wall. How radically different this was from the attitude of Jesus Christ. The Gospel of Luke tells us that Jesus not only welcomed sinners, but that he ate and drank with them, that he showed them respect and friendship, and that he offered them many chances of God's forgiving love. When the teachers of the law heard what Jesus was saying, they labeled Jesus the friend of sinners. They meant it as an insult, but Jesus took it as a compliment. It meant that his mission was prospering. The least, the last, and the lost were being found, and sinners were being saved. Like a magnet, Jesus drew the most despised members of society towards himself, and he valued their friendship. But of course, he did much more than that. Jesus not only welcomed them with open arms when they came to him, he took the trouble to seek them out like a good shepherd and to find them as well. No wonder the scribes and the Pharisees got all tied up in angry knots when they saw Jesus in the company of those kind of people. St. Luke reminds us that in response to that narrow-minded way of thinking, Jesus told the three parables of the lost sheep, the lost coin, and the prodigal son. These three familiar stories reveal the central focus of Luke's gospel, that no one is ever outside the reach of God's mercy. Jesus always welcomed sinners, basically because God is love, and that Christ's own ministry was to reveal the loving face and the loving heart of Almighty God. According to Jesus, the lost soul can always be found and always enfolded in God's divine mercy. In preaching and in the ministry of Jesus, God's mercy always takes the first step in seeking out the least and those difficult to love, and recognizing their potential to become what they are, God's own dear and beloved children. This is the same truth that St. Paul repeated in his letter that we heard today, that Christ came into this world to save sinners, not to condemn them. If we are honest, all of us have occasionally found ourselves lost in life, but Jesus assures us that we are always loved because God never calls off his search for any of us. Wherever we are, whatever our sin, our failure, God seeks us out to return us to the table of grace. We may sometimes feel unworthy of such love, but God always comes in search of us. God comes to us in word and sacrament, through ordinary people, in day-to-day experiences and events, and in a multitude of other ways. Our God leaves no avenue unexplored and no door forever closed. As followers of Christ, our mission is exactly to do the same for our brothers and sisters. In his name, we are to reach out to those around us who may be spiritually wandering or lost, and to offer a hand to welcome every individual without exception to share in God's love. And so we keep our eyes fixed on Jesus and pray for the grace to do just that in the upcoming week. May God bless us all. Have a great week.